It is that time of the year again, so strap in for your guide to the 2024 Craftsman Truck Series season. I'm your host, Brendan Bryan, and this is JABO. 2023 had a little bit of everything, ups and downs with plenty of drama in between, and 2024 looks to continue where 2023 left off. So let's begin by taking a look at the 2024 schedule. As always, we'll be starting the season off at Daytona, followed by another super speedway at Atlanta, giving an interesting 1-2 punch at the beginning of the NASCAR Truck Series season. We then follow that up with Las Vegas, Bristol, and Coda, then Martinsville, Texas, Kansas, and the Lady in Black at Darlington. Then the trucks will go to North Wilkesboro for the track's first full race in, my lifetime at least since I've been watching. Then we go to Charlotte, Gateway, Nashville, Pocono, and IRP, which, IRP is a great track for action, and we round off the regular season at Richmond. After 16 races, we head into the round of 10, with Milwaukee Speedway, a track Grant Enfinger dominated last year. Then we go to Bristol, Kansas, to finish out the round, and then the round of 8 is, it's chaos to say the least. Talladega, Miami, Martinsville. In the trucks, anything can happen. If you can make it to the round of 8, you can make it to the round of 4, which is again held this year in Phoenix. And who are all these people vying to go to Phoenix? Well, let's take a look at them. Starting off, we're going to look at Thor Sports Racing. And, what isn't there to say about the team? The team is coming off another championship run with Ben Rhodes behind the wheel. Everyone see this coming? Well, no. I definitely didn't. He kind of snuck in and he stole the show. But the rest of the team, it's stacked this year. Let's start off by talking about Ben Rhodes himself. He is now a 2-time Truck Series champion, but is also in a very interesting predicament. His longtime crew chief, Rich Lucius, which has guided him to 2 championships, we'll see if he returns this year. Last year, he was given to Haley Deegan for most of the season, before returning to Ben Rhodes late in the season, they won the championship. If they break up this pairing, for Ben Rhodes, it could be a lot like last season. Consistent and frustrating at times, but enough to get into the playoffs and maybe go on a hot streak. This season is important for the 99 crew, because for Ben Rhodes, it may be his last in the series. Because, he's been here for, my goodness, how long has it been? 8 years? 6 years? 8 years? He's getting too old for this. He has plenty of talent to go elsewhere in the Xfinity Series. So if I'm ThorSport, take advantage of Ben Rhodes now, because, he may be gone next year. The same could be said about his teammate, Ty Majeski, a very talented hotshot driver for the last 2 years for the team. He made it to the Final Four a couple years ago and came up just short this year after a massive penalty, as they say. The young driver looks to improve on last season, make it to the Final Four, and possibly win a championship. But also like Ben Rhodes, he's a very talented race car driver, and many teams could be looking to scoop him up in the next offseason. This is a big year for Ty, and I expect him to make the playoffs and make a deep run. Anything short of that is a disappointment. Now taking a look at the new driver of the 13 truck, we have Jake Garcia. If you were watching the Truck Series at all last year, you noticed this kid. He was taking backmarker equipment, running mid-pack at the worst, and top 5 at the most. This kid has a lot of talent, and is the most talent this truck has really seen in a few years. The pressure is on for this young driver, because in a couple of years, he may be the only veteran left on the team if, his teammate Matt Crafton decides to retire. This team could win races this year, they could make a deep run to the playoffs, or they could just be okay. We'll see what happens with Jake Garcia this year. Now, Matt Crafton, this is an interesting driver. He's never missed the playoffs, and he's old, very old. And why is that important? The older you get, the slower you go. No offense, Matt. It's hard to doubt the 3-time Truck Series champion, but Father Time is undefeated. Another playoff berth this year is likely, but also may be his last. He also may have experienced his last season. That's a tongue twister. If this team can get a win, that'd be great to send Matt out. But also, this may be the year. Who knows? He may race another 10 years and still make the playoffs. We'll see with Matt. Expect Matt Crafton to run around 8th to 12th this year. But who knows? He may run better, he may run worse. We'll see. This team hopefully will send him out on a high note, and if not, you had a good run, Matt. Now this is an interesting team. 1 year ago, this was Kyle Busch Motorsports and Spire. And now it's just Spire. And guess what? Kyle Busch is still here. Don't you worry. He's not leaving like he said he would. Well, actually, he didn't say he'd leave this series. He would leave the other one, but he's still in the other series. So really, he's not going anywhere. This team is full of expectation and speed. Expect this team to win with Kyle Busch at least a couple times this season, if not one as well with Corey LaJoie or even another racer such as Kyle Larson, William Byron, or whoever they throw in that fast 7 car. But for their full-time entries, it's just as exciting. Driving the 77 truck is Chase Purdy. Chase Purdy is a young driver, but now has many years of experience behind the wheel. He just missed the playoffs last season and looks to rebound in a fast car essentially on the same team. Look for him to make a push for the playoffs, but if not, to be just on the outside looking in. Same with Rajah Caruth. He showed flashes last season driving GMS equipment and expect him to do the same again this year. The sky's the limit for this young driver, but it may be some growing pains this year along with his teammate. But one of these teams could legitimately steal a win or just dominate a race flat out and make the playoffs on points. Only time will tell for Spire Motorsports. Well, that was certainly a season. Rev Racing and Nick Sanchez did everything but win last season. And literally everything. He got punched in the face by Matt Crafton. I don't think that's ever happened before to anybody. But this team looks to build with the young driver and make a push for the playoffs this season. If Nick Sanchez isn't in the playoffs and doesn't have a win by the end of the year, the team may want to look inside itself. Because, well, he's talented enough, and this team is fast enough. Expect him to make a push in the playoffs this year and win some races. Oh, Grant, they did you so dirty. Championship merely laps away until the incident. And it's weird. He's taken 2 teams now from irrelevancy to the championship, and both times has come painstakingly short and then fired. Hopefully that doesn't happen again this time. And hopefully it does happen again in some way, because he's going from GMS to CR7 Motorsports. Now, this race team has run with Grant before. When Grant was in limbo a couple years ago, he drove for this team and did quite well, scoring a few surprising top 5 and top 10 runs. Now, will this team make a deep run in the playoffs? Who knows? Will they make the playoffs? But the bias in me says he will. Bring her home, Grant. A championship awaits. Rackley War. Well, they didn't lie about the war part. Matt DiBenedetto took this team from irrelevancy to a win at Talladega and a playoff berth. And so how did they reward him? He's fired. And replacing him is Ty Dillon. Now, this isn't the worst replacement in the world. Ty Dillon has proven to run best in the trucks, and wouldn't be shocked if this team made a playoff run based on consistency alone. Will this team win? Probably not, but you never know. Matt DiBenedetto still looks for a ride, and Ty Dillon looks to take the 25 program to new heights. Expect this team to be consistent, probably around the back end of the top 10 to the low teens. And if not, well, Ty might be going home to Granddaddy. Well, this is a fun team to look at recently. Only a couple days ago, this team had no full-time drivers in the Truck Series, and now they have one. Look at that. You did that all by yourself. In all seriousness, Young's Motorsport is taking a big step this year. They're going up to the Xfinity Series, running a full-time entry with Leland Honeyman behind the wheel. And in the Truck Series, they're going to run the O2 truck with Mason Massey behind the wheel. Now, this team probably won't turn any heads, but hey, they have 2 surprise wins at Talladega. One was Spencer Boyd and Tate Fogelman. So you never know. But this team will probably be slower than in years past. Expect them to put more effort into their Xfinity program than their truck program. McAnally Hilligan Racing. Wow, that's a mouthful. Well, last year was a good year for them. Well, if you're a Christian Eckes, that is. The rest of the team did their thing. They were around. They drove. But it really was Christian Eckes who stole the show. For the rest of the team, however, they look to gain a step on their successful counterpart. Tyler Ankrum will take the helm of the 18 truck this year. After surprising everybody with the win early on in his career, he's done effectively nothing. He really has. In fact, the previous team he left is now, well, it's sort of dead. But we'll get to that later. This is a big year for the young Tyler Ankrum. He needs to drive, and he needs to drive well. If this team doesn't make the playoffs this year, well, that might just do it for his career. On the other hand, Daniel Dye showed some speed last year. Honestly, he did. He did well at GMS. Now, he didn't light the world on fire, but Yeah, he has some consistent talent. Now, will he set the world on fire here? Probably not. He'll probably run somewhere in the teens to the high 20s, maybe stealing some top 10s and showing some flashes here and there. Let's hope. You never know. He may do something. But this is a building year for the young driver, so just let him develop, complete all the laps. And then they have a part-time entry this year. Jack Wood and Zane Smith are slated to drive the 91 truck, and this truck could really win some races, especially with Zane Smith behind the wheel. I mean, he's a truck champion after all. Jack Wood, on the other hand, well, he's paying for it, so that's always nice. But looking at the big fish in this racing pond, it's Christian Eckes. This team came up painfully short of the Final Four last year, and honestly, without a couple missteps, this is a championship team. Heck, they won the championship race this past season, but they weren't in it, so it doesn't really count. I mean, the win counts, but the championship doesn't really count. But if he can make it back there this year, this is a very dangerous team. Look for them to shoot for the stars. Well, this wasn't the news I was looking forward to. Hattori Racing Enterprises is scaling back to part-time. Ay caramba. This team only a few years ago won a championship with Brett Moffitt. And, well, they're back to where they started, irrelevancy. Hopefully this team can string together some good runs on a part-time basis and build their program back up to relevancy. Only time will tell. Good luck, Hattori. Now looking at Alabama native Brett Holmes and his racing team, aptly named Brett Holmes Racing. It was a good year last year. I mean, he didn't shock the world, but he didn't, burn it down either. That's a good thing, and the team looks to return this year stronger than ever before. Hopefully with years of experience now, this team can take a step forward. This team has a dangerous superspeedway program, and look for him to contend on some smaller tracks as well. This team could steal a playoff spot this year. Who knows? From starlight to stardust, that's the story of Front Row Motorsports the past 2 seasons. Zane Smith won him a championship, and then they lost the championship. Well, yeah, he didn't even make it to the championship race, but he still had a really good season. Just bad luck late and just kind of sluggish overall. But the team is being infused with new blood. Lane Riggs will take the helm of the 38 truck. And does he have what it takes? Well, we'll see. He had some good runs last season driving for a couple teams and has a shot at hopefully what is still one of the fastest trucks in the garage. Hopefully last year's struggles don't reflect onto this year. Lane Riggs is hopefully a talent, and Front Row can hopefully take advantage of him. Look for Riggs to make a playoff push, and maybe steal a win with the Fast 38. Taking a look now at Rheaume Brothers Racing, the team has signed Lawless Allen to the 33. Now, outside of having a kick-ass name, Lawless Allen, well, was not following the law last season. He drove pretty mediocrely, just kind of in the mid-pack and wrecked. It wasn't a great season. And, well, the bar isn't high at Rheaume Brothers Racing, but hopefully, with a quiet season and some quiet consistency, Lawless Allen can put together a solid season and prepare this team for 25. But in the meantime, heck, who knows? There are super speedways on the schedule. He could steal one. Keith McGee will be driving the 27 truck at Daytona for the team. Who knows? Maybe this team will take a step forward this year, and they might have the speed to do it. Only time will tell. Well, this team went through some shakeups. Whew. After their 2024 Championship 4 appearance with Carson Hocevar, the team is reloaded. Driving the 41 truck will be Bailey Curry. This will be the best opportunity the young driver has had and good equipment. Hopefully he can make a name for himself this season. Will he make the playoffs? Who knows? But look for him to have some career runs and maybe a win. But more likely, the team is just going to build up some consistency, complete some laps, and hopefully get ready for 2025 where this team could really break out. What I said about Bailey Curry is true about Matt Mills. He could make the playoffs. He'll have some career runs this year. He could win a race. Who knows? The team is going to perform well this year and just prep themselves for 2025 because the competition this year is steep. Look from Nice Motorsports to maybe make some waves this season because they also have an all-star car featuring the likes of Ross Chastain and Johnny Sauter. This team could steal a win or two, and heck, maybe the regulars will too. This team is sort of in the same spot as Spire. We'll see what happens. A new team approaches, Faction 46, with Thad Moffitt behind the wheel, the grandson of Richard Petty, taking the 46 truck, the black and blue. This is an interesting team. I mean, Thad Moffitt really hasn't shined. He hasn't really blown the doors off anybody. But who knows? New team, new paint. This team could do something, especially at the super speedways at Daytona, Talladega, and Atlanta. This team may have some surprises. If this team can complete all the laps and score some good runs, it will be a success this year. But who knows what the limit is? Hallmar Friesen Racing and Stuart Friesen. This team has been so close, and yet so far, so many times. Last year was a step forward, but will this year be as well? With another year of experience running Toyotas, Stuart Friesen looks to capitalize and maybe make a deep playoff push. Can he? Well, the competition's steep, and this is kind of a pivotal year for the team. I feel like the team will probably hang around for the next few seasons, but it will be prudent now for Stuart Friesen to turn it on and win some races. If not, this team may begin to slip back into irrelevancy, especially if they don't run any more dirt races. It is time for Timmy Hill and Hill Motorsports. It's Timmy time, everybody. Timmy Hill returns to his own race team to drive his own truck to glory. This team is a championship threat, and you know it. Don't be scared. Just admit it. Bow to Timmy. But in all seriousness, this team looks to take a step forward this year. Timmy Hill has the talent to maybe snag a win and some good finishes, but we'll see what happens. If this team can finish top 20 in the points, it will be a success. Go get 'em, Timster. Bow now to your future champion. Now, this is the race team we have been waiting for all these years. The America team, Freedom Racing Enterprises, the Stars and Stripes, and Spencer Boyd. The winner at Talladega picks the corpse clean of GMS Racing and will drive the best equipment of his career. Now, what will he do with it? If America is anything to go by, it will be a fight, it will be a struggle, and the outcome will be uncertain. Good luck, Spencer, and God bless your American soul. Oh, we've reached that time. Tri-Con Garage. This team succeeded last year, and also, well, they imploded last year. This team was definitely carried by Corey Heim, though flashes of speed from Dean Thompson, Taylor, and Tanner Gray accompanied him. None of them won except for Corey, but Corey, my goodness, we'll get back to him in a minute. Looking at Dean Thompson, he looks to build on successes from last season. He had some legitimate opportunities, especially at Texas, and the team looks to build on that success further this year. Hopefully Dean Thompson can be more consistent and maybe even snag a win. This team has the speed. Hopefully he has the ability. Go get him, Dean. Looking at Taylor Gray. Taylor had a pretty darn good rookie season, all things said. He didn't light the world on fire. He didn't wreck as many trucks as I thought. And, well, he might have an edge on his older brother. In fact, I think they finished next to each other in the points. This could be a big year for Taylor Gray. In fact, he's already slated to drive part-time in the Xfinity Series this year for Joe Gibbs Racing. Toyota is high on this prospect. He may break out. He may do nothing. We'll see. Taylor Gray, we don't know what he's going to do next. That can't be said about his brother, Tanner. Tanner has fought his way up from the bottom, and he is still sort of quagmire in between relevancy and irrelevancy. Sort of the Mendoza line of the Truck Series. He almost made the playoffs this past season, but he didn't. And, well, he continues that streak heading into this season. For Tanner, this is a make-or-break year. If he makes the playoffs, well, the skies are the limit. But if not, well, this team might have to reconsider some things. Good luck, Tanner, because, well, Taylor fast. Corey. What a season you had last year. One of the most dominating seasons in NASCAR history, statistically speaking. A 6.8 average finish. Holy moly. And what did you do with it? Did you win a championship? Well, no, he did not. But that wasn't his fault, entirely. In the championship race, Corey Heim was derailed by only one thing. His only flaw, Carson Hocevar. The ceiling for this team is higher than any others. He could legitimately go out and win 8 races. Honestly, he could dominate. He could have a season like last year and have a top 5 or top 6 average finish. Who knows? But there is one flaw with this team, actual flaw, and it's not Carson Hocevar. Okay, it has something to do with Carson Hocevar. Sorry, Carson. It wasn't what happened to him, but how he reacted. In the biggest moment of his career, he got taken out. It happens. But how did he respond? Well, he sorta hunted him down and wrecked him, ruining the championship hopes of Grant Enfinger and putting those of Ben Rhodes in jeopardy. Now, that is not how you say contenders should act. Yes, he is young. Yes, he is bold. Yes, he is fast. But he has to clean up these mistakes. Otherwise, this season could be a roller coaster of a season. I think that may be what this season will pertain. Speed and frustration. But this team will still be the best of the bunch. Look out, everybody. It's Corey's second go-around. Now just looking at a couple other teams here. We have Roper Racing driving part-time with Marco Andretti. Huh, that's interesting. With XRX closing, Marco Andretti is seemingly transitioning to stock car racing. Did he run well last year? In his couple rides he had? Not particularly. But this team could have some shots at the super speedways. But is Marco a super speedway racer? Not really. This team will have some shots on the road courses if that's where Marco runs. But you never know. Marco's goal is to complete all the laps, in my opinion. If he can do that, it will be a good season. Also looking at a Daytona entry, with possibly more entries on the way, is Floridian Motorsports. Based out of Jupiter, Florida, Mason Maggio helms the 21 Toyota for this new race team. Now, what will this race team achieve? Who knows? It's the Florida race team. They could dominate Daytona, become a dynasty, or crash before the start of the race. It's a Florida race team. It's what we've always wanted in NASCAR. Go get 'em to whatever ends. So, after all of that, who is making it into the playoffs? Well, the field is tight this year. There are many drivers who can miss it or make it or are just on that cut line. But to me, there are 4 easy choices here. Corey Heim, Christian Eckes, Ben Rhodes, and Ty Majeski. Those are the 4 best drivers in this series right now. And if they miss the playoffs, something catastrophic is going to happen this season for them. These are the 4 best teams. These are your championship favorites. But they're also going up against some other competition as well, such as Nick Sanchez. I think he'll make the playoffs as well. This team has shown speed. Now they just need a breakthrough for a win, and well, they're on their way. To me, they're the next team out. They could be one of the 4 best, but we'll see. Who knows what's in store for this team? Also, I have Stuart Friesen making the playoffs. Stuart Friesen showed speed last year, and I think he'll carry it into this season. Look for this team to be consistent and maybe snag a win. I also have the rookie Lane Riggs making the playoffs. That 38 isn't as slow as we think. Methinks. I thought? I don't know. This team has a young and talented race car driver. This team won't be as consistent this year, but I do think they'll steal a win somewhere. Look out for Lane Riggs to be streaky this season, but when he's fast, he'll be fast. Now getting towards the bottom end of the playoff picture, we have 3 drivers who, in my opinion, probably won't win races, but they'll be consistent enough to make it in. Starting off, I'm having Chase Purdy make the playoffs in the 77 truck for Spire. Now, you can honestly slide in Raja Caruth into this spot as well, but I think the extra years of experience for Chase Purdy will pay off. He just missed the playoffs last season, and I think he'll make it in this year comfortably on points. And another team I think that will make it in decently well will be the 25 of Rackley War Racing. That's right. Ty Dillon is going to make the playoffs for the team. Is this a bold prediction? I think so, but I think he has the talent to do this. He's running Cup now for many years. Though he didn't show the speed or success of his older brother Austin, he's still a very talented race car driver. He may finish 32nd every week, but he's still the 32nd best race car driver in the world, and I think he can take this team to the playoffs. Now finally, this final spot, you can put a lot of drivers. The Gray brothers. You can put Raja Caruth. You can put any number of drivers. Heck, Bailey Curry or Matt Mills. But for my bias, and totally biased, I'm having Grant Enfinger make the final transfer spot into the playoffs. Will it be close? I think so. He'll be consistent all season, but not nearly as fast as he was last. His experience will outduel the younger drivers in my opinion. And also the older one in Matt Crafton. No, and I'm sorry Matt Crafton fans, he's missing the playoffs this year. It is time. He is old, but I could also be wrong. Heck, Matt Crafton's going to win the championship this year, isn't he? With 0 wins again. But Grant Enfinger, I think he has a chance at this. And I think if he can make this round, I think he has a really good shot in these playoffs to outduel some of the younger and less experienced drivers. Also looking at the win totals for this season, I have Corey Heim winning 4 races, Christian Eckes winning 2, Ben Rhodes winning 1, Ty Majeski 2, Nick Sanchez 2, Stuart Friesen 1, and Lane Riggs 1. I think some of the Cup boys, such as Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain, will steal around 3 to 6 wins this year. That's about average. Heck, Corey LaJoie may even steal a win. We'll see, though. But look for Corey Heim to break out this season. Because unlike last season with Zane Smith as a legitimate check against him and Grant Enfinger in top equipment, this team could really steal some wins. But another driver that's going to be just behind him will be Christian Eckes and Ty Majeski, along with the Fast 2 and a streaky 38. This will be an interesting season, but I think Corey Heim will have the win total heading into the playoffs. In the round of 10, we have Milwaukee, Bristol, and Kansas. 2 short tracks and a mile and a half. So what drivers do those tracks benefit? In my opinion, veterans. And that's who I have moving on. Corey Heim, Christian Eckes, Ben Rhodes, Ty Majeski, Nick Sanchez, Stuart Friesen, Lane Riggs, and Grant Enfinger. Yes, the Grant will make the round of 8. Is that a biased pick? Totally. But I believe it. So that means the 77 and the 25 are eliminated. Look, Chase Purdy is a solid, consistent driver. But when it comes to the playoffs, I think this team is just going to fall a little short. Same with Ty Dillon. He's not going to have any performances where he makes his way up into the top 3 and tries to steal a win. This team will run 8th to 12th. Same with Chase Purdy, and it just won't be enough to make it in. Looking at the round of 8, we have a very chaotic round of Talladega, Miami, and Martinsville. So, who will that benefit? Well, honestly, nobody and everybody. But it does benefit one driver. Grant Enfinger has a serious shot in this round. I really think so. But there is an issue. There are 4 race car drivers in this round of 8 who are legitimately, in my opinion, heads and shoulders above the rest. And it's going to be boring, and I've talked about them all video, but that's why I'm moving on to the round of 4. Corey Heim, Christian Eckes, Ben Rhodes, and Ty Majeski. I'm sorry for Nick Sanchez fans, he's not going to advance. He may steal a win in the round of 10, but I don't think he's going to move on. Stuart Friesen, I think, is just outclassed. Same with Lane Riggs. I think he'll make it on pure speed just to the round of 8, but he's going to fall apart at places like Talladega and Martinsville, in my opinion. Who knows? Grant, I think, the talent and consistency is there, but the speed won't be with the CR7 truck. But it will be the team's best season ever. I mean, he could steal a win at Talladega. Legitimately, he could. But it's just going to come up just short for the team. Don't worry. He'll make the round of 4 next year, lose in a heartbreaking fashion, and the team will dissolve. That's how it always happens. This round of 4 is stacked heading into Phoenix. Heim, Eckes, Rhodes, Majeski. Each of these drivers can win this championship. Heck, Rhodes could win his 3rd. Heim could win his 1st. He had unbelievable speed last year, and I think he'll replicate it again this year. Ty Majeski again, great speed. And Christian Eckes won the darn race a year ago, but didn't win the championship. This race will be for all the marbles. The 4 best drivers of the series going head-to-head at Phoenix. So, who's winning the championship? That's right, it's Timmy Hill. He's going to win the championship. You saw I didn't have him in the playoffs. That's because he won the championship beforehand. You know it's true. Everybody knows it's true. It's Timmy time. Okay, actually, for real this time I have Christian Eckes winning the championship. Sorry, Timmy fans. It's just not our year this year. But for Christian Eckes, I think it will be. This team was so close to making it last year. Heck, if he made the Final 4, he wins the championship outright. And I think it's going to happen this year. I think Corey Heim is sort of like John Hunter Nemechek in these championship situations. He's good, he's just not going to pull it out, though. he may be a better driver than Christian Eckes, but Christian Eckes is going to come up clutch here. For Ben Rhodes, I think he'll be lucky to make it back to the championship 4, especially if Rich Lucius doesn't return. Ty Majeski, well, he'll be close, but I think Christian Eckes, best driver at Phoenix, and he's going to get it done this season. Christian Eckes will be your 2024 Truck Series champion. But to be quite honest, what do I know? For all we know, Timmy Hill will win the championship, because it is Timmy time after all. Hopefully after watching this, you are now prepared for the 2024 Craftsman Truck Series season. Let it begin, and thank you for watching JABO. We hope to see you again next time.